Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the One D Podcast channel. I'm your host, Vikash, joined by my co-host, Sagar. Today, we're going to be talking about NFL sports bets, and we're going to put our money where our mouth is. We're going to give you our top five bets, and hopefully, it's all green, brother.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And the cool thing is, we'll be doing this weekly, so we'll give you our like five bets of the week, and I'll make a video, like a follow up video, showing how we did and who to follow more. Give it like a little head to head record, see who's winning more money over the week, and we'll also be going through all the bets for all the matchups, just to see what our thoughts are, and we'll make this a weekly running series. So hope you guys enjoy.
Yeah, we can get like one of these slides be one of those our track record for the season, which would be
Yeah,
pretty
so
cool.
I'll update this as we go. I'll put like a running record.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
So let's start. Um, so first matchup is going to be the Thursday night matchup, which is tomorrow. This is an interesting bet. Do you have like any quick thoughts on this one?
This is disgusting. Honestly, I
Yeah.
hate Sam Darnold. I don't like. I think Jeff Driscoll just got benched. I don't know who the starting quarterback will be for the Broncos. And
hmm
Cortland Sutton's out. I mean, Melvin Gordon will probably feast. Um, and that running game might do well, but I'm pretty sure the Jets do well against the run. It's just that secondary that isn't the greatest. And so, yeah, I have. It's going to be a terrible game, in my opinion. But sometimes the terrible games end up being fun. I just wouldn't touch this with a 10-foot pole.
So kind of interesting. I would, I've been looking at the bets for the last few weeks, and
Mm.
the Jets have always been given like an insane amount of points. But right now, you're getting a point with the Broncos, and like that is really tempting me because like it was like Jets minus 11.5 against the Colts. Like they're really bad. So you're giving the Broncos points. You may not know who their quarterback is, but hey, I mean, I think they could beat the Jets. So kind of tempting. I may want to put a dollar or two there.
I mean,
See how it goes.
another thing to consider is Le'Veon Bell done with his
hmm
3 week IR stint, or
Um,
is that
it
one more
should be
game?
that he's done. I'm not sure exactly what his timetable is, but regardless of if Bell is back, I still like the Broncos.
So like, think about it. So I just looked it up. The quarterback who will be starting is Brett Rypien, who I've never heard of personally. Uh,
No,
and he's
neither have
starting
I.
on a short week. And I
Jeez.
think
Okay.
all this lends to why this is such a interesting bet. I mean, I can see what you're saying. The fact that last week Jets were what plus 10.5 or something. So it's like the fact that
11 and a half.
oh Lord, and so the fact that the Jets are the favored team right here, it's
Mm-hmm.
kind of crazy. So yeah, I can see why you would go with the Broncos if you were to bet on this, but I'm not touching this one.
Yeah. Okay. I think agreed. Even I wouldn't put too much money. Kind of hard to predict. So the next game is an interesting one. We bet the Cardinals last week. Got burned on that one. But this week they're going to be playing the Panthers, and the line right now, it actually updated, is Cardinals minus 3.5. It was minus for earlier in the week, so they're giving them, I guess, more. It's more favorable now since you're giving them less of a handicap, which is interesting to me. What's your thoughts on this one?
This one's interesting, right? I still like the Cardinals. I think they just had a bad week last week. Kyler Murray had too many turnovers, and I think Kenyon Drake wasn't the greatest, even though everyone expected him to be. I mean, I pulled off a pretty good trade in our league, in our fantasy league for him, with him. Um, I would take this Cardinals bet. This is one that I would probably take minus 3.5. I mean, I think they can easily cover that. The Panthers didn't look the greatest. Mike Davis filled in decently for Christian McCaffrey, but wasn't the greatest on the ground. Great pass catcher though, and we'll see. I think they only scored one touchdown, and like the rest were all field goals against the Chargers last week. The Panthers, and so their offense isn't completely there, but they're starting to click, and they've got great receivers in Robbie Anderson, DJ Moore, Curtis Samuel. Great athletes there. Patrick Peterson might be on Anderson or DJ Moore. You don't know. So I don't know. I can't really see. I think the Cardinals are very competitive this year. Their ground game is great with Chase Edmonds, Kyler Murray, and uh, what's his name? Kenyon Drake, and then you add DeAndre
What's his
Hopkins to the
name?
mix. My bad, mental error. Then you add DeAndre Hopkins to the mix, who they're forcing the ball to him, and it's working
Yeah.
out really well.
Hmm.
So yeah, I would. This is one that I would go with the Cardinals. I think this is a great one, and it's not as egregious as last week, where it's what -6 it was last week we took. So I'll take
Yeah.
-3.5 this time. I think they
And I
rebound.
would say I agree with your point about it not like teams meshing together, right? So the Cardinals obviously added Hopkins over the summer, but the key fact is that Kenyon Drake was there last year, so he's finally gelling into the system. Kyler Murray's been there already for last year, offensive rookie of the year, so they have more time together versus the Panthers, who new head coach, new quarterback, your main offensive like primary piece who you will always use is out for the game with an ankle injury, Christian McCaffrey. I just feel like it's a recipe for the Cardinals to win. I do like the fact that it's now -3.5, not -4. Wish it was -3 because that would be like a field goal, but still, I like the Cardinals on this bet. I think this is a good one. All
Especially
right.
if you're thinking about it, like it's a competitive team versus a team that's not expecting to be competitive.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
so I think honestly, the Cardinals and Lions that just seemed like an anomaly. 3 picks,
Hmm.
especially to a subpar secondary. Hopefully, Kyler Murray doesn't do that again, but he's been lethal
Yeah.
in the end zone. So
Hmm.
yeah, I'm taking this one. This is one of my 5 I would probably take.
Yeah, same for me. The next one is going to be the Baltimore Ravens and the Washington football team. Interesting bet. Ooh, 1 second. My camera's gone on me.
No worries.
Gotta turn that back on. Yeah, so this is an interesting bet. I do like it because, I mean, I don't like it because obviously it's Ravens -13. That's an insane point spread. One of the largest ones, this season so far. Even though the Ravens are a strong team, you could see that at the top echelon of the league, there's clearly a difference between them and the Chiefs. Then again, I do believe the Ravens win this game. I just don't have the confidence to say they win by 13 and a half or more. Right? They don't win by 2 touchdowns. Yeah, that's something that's very hard to predict. So I'm kind of staying away from this just for the fact that they'll have to beat them by 2 touchdowns to cover, and I'm not confident with that.
It's tough, right? Like Dwayne Haskins sucks. He's very
Yeah,
bad,
he
and
does.
that's
Hmm.
the reason I'm pretty sure the Ravens are -13. He, it's just you just watch him and he's just not. He doesn't look comfortable ever, and he's not very accurate with the ball. Turns the ball over too much, fumbles, and it's not like a Jameis situation where he's talented enough to throw touchdowns in the meantime. It's not like a 30-30 season's going to happen. It's more like, you kind of expect him to throw 12 touchdowns to 45 interceptions. And it's just Haskins just shouldn't be the starter, but they're rolling him out again. And I think the reason I also wouldn't take this is because of that Washington defensive line. They might keep Lamar Jackson and company in check on that ground game. Probably not because they'll be winded from all the interceptions and turnovers that Washington football team will give to the Ravens. But it's also tough because it's Washington home, and so I don't know how much that factors into this sort of season, but that spread is just crazy. I don't think I would ever take that.
Yeah, neither would I. And the thing I really watch out for is basically like garbage time, right? Like it's easy for like a team that's down by like 3 scores to come back and score, um, at the end of a game, and then you could totally blow your spread because of that. So
Exactly.
I don't like these kind of games. I'm staying away from this one.
I mean I mean a fact that's going towards the Ravens is that in garbage time, if Dwayne Haskins has to throw the ball, he might be throwing it to the Ravens cornerbacks instead.
He could be, could be. All right. So next bet.
Hmm.
This is an interesting one. I have a very strong opinion on this one. I'll just go first and let you give your thoughts afterwards.
Go for it.
So I think okay. So the Ravens are a very good team, and they destroyed the Browns. Right.
Hmm.
I like the Browns and what they do in terms of their scheme. Right. They run the ball, and they have Baker basically manage the game, throw occasionally. That's not the way you want to be the Cowboys. The Cowboys really suck in their secondary, right? It's just a total mess. Baker's going to have to throw. And, you've been convincing me over the last year and a half that Baker's, not as good as I think. And you may be onto something with that. And so since I'm guessing that the Browns are going to have to pass more, just not going to work out. At the same time, I love the Cowboys wide receivers. They have such an amazing, like, depth chart and like talent there. You have Amari Cooper, Michael Gallup, CeeDee Lamb is amazing. Showing how worth it he was in the first round, even though he's a rookie wide receiver. And then, of course, you have Ezekiel Elliott. And Dak has been putting up huge numbers. And this is also a must-win for Dallas, in my opinion, because they're 1-2. They want to get a firm grasp of that division lead at 2-2, which is just sad to say. But I think this is a must-win for the Cowboys, and I'm going to take them -4.5. I think this is one of my 5.
My thing is with the Cowboys, man. So they've played the 2 worst secondaries in the league, and they've looked amazing, obviously. They played the Falcons and the Seahawks, and Dak Prescott has definitely taken advantage. This is going to be a tougher secondary. Denzel Ward will likely be shadowing Amari Cooper, but you've still got Michael Gallup and CeeDee Lamb out there, causing havoc. Dalton Schultz has done well at tight end for the Cowboys, too. I hate Baker Mayfield. I don't like him, and if the game is on him throwing the ball, it just won't work. The Browns hinge on Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt doing well, and if they're not doing well, then I don't give the Browns much of a chance because I don't believe in Baker. I think there are so many times that Odell Beckham is wide open, and Baker just can't get him the ball. It's short, It's long, it's just not accurate. Baker's basically a one-read quarterback, and so I also like the Cowboys here. Their Cowboys are home. I wouldn't say it's a must-win because the NFC East you can win probably at 6-10, 7-9. So, there's not much you really have to win during the season. But I just the problem is the Dallas defense is not very good, and
it's not.
I do think that Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt could have a great day against that defense. But
yeah, I could see it. I love Nick Chubb. The one thing I will say as well is that they have DeMarcus Lawrence. He has not lived up to his contract, but still a good rusher. And Aldon Smith coming back after 5 years, I think, has a shot of most improved player this year. And they may cause trouble. Maybe not for Chubb and Kareem Hunt, but definitely for Baker. So we'll see how it goes. But this is one of my 5.
I could see that. And then another one of my issues is that this is not one of the worst secondaries in the league. So I don't think Dak will put up the same numbers he has been. But yeah. -4.5, I'd lean towards that. I don't think the Browns, when the Browns are down in a game, for some reason it's just tough for them to make it competitive. So yeah, I think this would tread on my top 5. So yeah, I'd lean Cowboys -4.5 on that one.
Cool. Okay, next bet. This one is a rematch of a Super Bowl. Good memories, the one Super Bowl we've won in the last I don't know how many years.
Oh gosh.
I don't know why I'm saying we. I'm barely a Colts fan anymore anyway, but we have the Indianapolis
At least you're not a Falcons fan, am I right?
Yes. Speaking of that, I have a spicy opinion on that game.
Okay. When we get to it, I'll see.
Indy against Chicago. This game is a game I'm personally not going to touch, simply because I feel like Nick Foles is such an unknown. I have no idea if he's going to light them up, if he's not. I know the Indianapolis defense is amazing. I have them in fantasy, and oh my God, they're, part of the reason I put up 200 last week. I had to bring that in because I love to brag about that. Yeah, I just feel like I'm not touching this one because Nick Foles is such an unknown. I want to see how he gels in that offense. I want to see how they use Montgomery now that Tariq Cohen is gone. And I want to see how Allen Robinson either upticks in performance or downticks based on how Nick Foles uses him. And interesting game. Definitely going to be paying attention, but not something I want to bet just for that unknown factor.
I feel that it's tough, right? Nick Foles looked great against the Falcons, but he looked great against the Falcons, and that's not a very good secondary to be going against. And then I don't think you have anything to worry about with Allen Robinson because Nick Foles does like throwing to his number one. The problem with me is also with the uncertainty. The Colts haven't played any good teams this season. Don't really know
No.
how good they are. Don't really know how good that defense is either, because the two of the interceptions that Sam Darnold threw were to Xavier Rhodes, and we know that man is not very good at cornerback anymore. I mean, maybe he is. Maybe he's turning it around this season, but it's Sam Darnold. I don't think that's a great barometer to test your skills. But
Yeah.
and there's also no wide receivers on that team that are healthy, on the Jets, that I should say. And so last week, the Colts defense looked dominant against a Sam Darnold, but can they look as dominant against a Nick Foles? I don't think so. And that's also why I'm not touching this. Nick Foles could blow this game open. Nick Foles could look like a chump. I don't know. What I do know is David Montgomery will probably do pretty well. And I also think...
Got some reminders.
There's my reminders. I also think... what's his name? The running back for the Colts. Jonathan Taylor. I don't know enough about him yet. He's played 3 bad teams. Hasn't looked the greatest, but given the benefit of the doubt, he looked great in college. Had no, I was going to say spring training. What's it called? Preseason.
Yeah.
And so, he's just getting his legs going right now. He's probably going to break out later in the season, but he doesn't look great right now.
Exactly.
Phillip Rivers hasn't faced much of a pass rush. He'll face one this week. And so, if I were to pick one of these two, I'd go Chicago +3. I think they make it competitive. I think they make it a close game. And, give me 3 points with Chicago, I'll go with that, because I think Nick Foles is a great quarterback, and he just hasn't gotten his time to shine as a starter.
Yeah, I would agree. If I had to bet this game, I would probably go the Bears +3, because like you, I think it's going to be close, and you always take the points in those situations.
Mm-hmm.
I will move on to the next bet. It's going to be the Jaguars against the Bengals.
Ugh.
It's like, I'm not really...
Disgusting.
Not to be rude, but I don't care about either team too much.
Oh, you like Joe Burrow? You like Joe Burrow.
I like Joe Burrow, and I like Gardner Minshew. Not in fantasy, though, because he
that
got
guy
me 9
sucks.
points last week.
Terrible performance.
But, yeah, I'm going to have to say, again, close game, just quickly, close game like last week. I guess take the Jags +3. They have some promise. They have Chris Robinson. Looks like he's the real deal. Minshew may look to bounce back. I know the Bengals are winless, and I love Joe Burrow, but in this case, I think it's going to be a close game, and I'll just take the points with the Jaguars.
I think it'll be a close game as well. It's interesting to see both terrible defenses. Ryan Fitzpatrick was able to take advantage of that Jaguars defense. Everyone's able to take advantage of that Bengals defense, except for Carson Wentz. And so it's tough. I think if DJ Chark plays, I would lean towards taking that +3 with the Jaguars with you. If he doesn't, I'd go with the -3 with the Bengals. I think Joe Burrow looks great. He almost won the first game. It should have gone to overtime, but his kicker missed the field goal. Game 2, I forget who they played. But game 3, obviously the tie against the Eagles. And so Burrow's been competitive in all 3 games so far. And so I don't know. Actually, I'd lean towards the -3 just because Burrow hasn't shown anything that's negative versus Gardner Minshew just put up an absolute stinker against a terrible secondary. I mean, I'm sure Xavier Rhodes was having a good time, and everyone else, even with Byron Jones out. But that Jaguars team, I love Gardner Minshew. Doesn't seem like they're tanking for Trevor, but they're probably going to. And so that defense is just depleted. Yeah, I'd go Bengals -3, but I'm not putting it in my top 5.
I'm not putting any money in this game either.
Yeah.
Next bet. Definitely putting money in this one. It's in my top 5 bets. I'm sure it's in yours. It's going to be the Bucks -7 points. What's interesting to me about the Bucks at least, is that every week the spread on their games is pretty significantly large, right? And we mentioned this in a prior 1ND podcast where, the Bucks season schedule and why we predicted them to have so many wins is because their schedule this season not that hard in the larger sense of things, right? Some pretty easy teams to play. Just as a little update, Tyrod Taylor will not be playing in this game. It'll be Justin Herbert. The Bucks defense looks ferocious. They look like they're legit going to be a top 5 defense overall. And, Tom Brady gets another week to gel with the offense. Mike Evans looks good. Chris Godwin looks good. yeah, I'm taking the Bucks -7. I think this is going to be more than a one-score game for sure. And yeah, I'm taking the Bucks -7. This is in my top five.
I have some reservations about this one. Last week, Justin Herbert came out against the Panthers, did not look the greatest. Some unlucky plays in the beginning of the game, but then he was clawing back. He almost came back in the final drive of the game. Would have won the game with a hook and ladder at the end. And so another thing I noticed with the Bucks is that first half defense, lockdown. Second half, it's just something happens. They just let up these big plays, and the other team just comes back. Justin Herbert looks really good. I don't know if you got a chance to see that hook and ladder play that should have won them the game, but Austin Eckler basically botched that. He just dropped the game-winning ball, and I think it resulted in a fumble by Keenan Allen, which is funny for fantasy purposes. And so I do think the Bucks will win this game. But another thing to consider: Chris Godwin isn't playing. He's not playing until week 6, I don't think, with I think a hamstring injury or a groin. I forget. And so Godwin being out, it kind of makes it a little closer for me. I think Tom Brady can dissect this Chargers defense anytime, though, right? Like,
Yeah.
he's done it in the past. He's going to do it again. Mike Evans, 2 yards, 2 touchdowns. That's all he needs. And so
Yeah. Two catches, right?
2 catches, 2 yards, 2 touchdowns. Exactly.
Yep.
That was his line. Messed me up in fantasy, that's for sure.
And so the one thing I'll just say is that, I don't have the stats on me right now, but I'm always curious to see how a rookie quarterback, no matter how good he looks or how great he looks, does against a top defense in the league. I find like those matches to be pretty interesting to observe. And I just want to see how it'll go. My prediction is that the Bucks win by more than that because they have Tom Brady to add to that defense. So yeah, that's my reasoning. Is this in your top 5, or you not? You have no recommendation on this one?
I think it's trending like barely in my top 5, so I'm gonna put it on the outskirts of it for now. So I would take Bucks -7. Honestly, I do think they win, but the problem is everything I said. Like the defense is ferocious, right? That
Yeah.
D line is, Justin Herbert's gonna have
Very good.
one someday.
He's gonna see ghosts.
No, he's not. He's not that bad.
He's not that bad, no.
And so I think the first half will be terrible. But the thing with Justin Herbert, what I've observed is that he really settles in, right? He gets used to the defense, and I mean it's a small sample size, right? 2 games.
Mhm.
And the first game against the Chiefs, he looked great. And then the second game against the Panthers, he started off bad, but then he took all the momentum and basically should have won the game. And so it's tough. I mean, they're jiving with he loves throwing it to Keenan Allen. If you're completing it to your top wide receiver, you're in a good spot. So it's tough because the Bucks defense, I think they're great. I think they're top 5 potential. I don't think they're top 5 right now because of their second half woes, and they just keep giving up these chunk yardage plays, and that just plays into Justin Herbert's hands at that point. But yeah, I mean, treading my top 5, so I'll put Tampa Bay right on the outskirts, and we'll see how the rest go.
Okay, interesting. So your top 5 is going to be a little bit in the latter half of this PowerPoint, I'm assuming.
Maybe, I don't know. I haven't made my decisions.
Oh, okay. So the next bet is going to be the New Orleans Saints -4 against the Detroit Lions +4. Interesting game. I really want to see how Drew Brees does. We have a little disagreement there. I hyperbolize it by saying, he's washed and that he's a racist. Maybe the second one I'm not hyperbolizing. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I just want to see how he does. Michael Thomas is a big important factor. I don't know if he's playing or not. I think the timetable says he might. Stafford is just like, in fantasy he'll get you your solid 20 points. I just don't know how good he is at winning games. They tend to blow leads. If the Saints offense is clicking, Kamara's going to just run through that defense. Yeah, I think I'd take Saints -4, but this is not a game I'm personally going to be putting any money on.
This one I'm easily putting money on Saints -4. This offense is pretty good, and I think once Michael Thomas comes back, they're just gonna mince that defense, especially if what's his name, the Lions cornerback who just got injured, rookie from Ohio State.
I don't remember his name.
Oh, what's his name? But Jeff Okudah. He got injured at the end of last week.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, regarding DeAndre Hopkins, and he had a pick or two I think against Kyler Murray, but I just don't think the Lions defense can hold up with the Saints offense, especially if Michael Thomas plays. Uh, and I think Latavius Murray will also do well actually in this game. So maybe a little fantasy talk later, but I think Latavius Murray might have a decent shot at borderline flex potential. 4 points, you're giving me. I think the Saints win by at least a touchdown. They usually like to bounce back after a loss, and so they just lost to the Packers. The Saints don't usually lose two in a row. They haven't in a while. Feel. I don't know. I'm just pulling
It
that
just
out
seems
there.
like it. Like they always get back on track, and
Right, when you only
they're
lose
always a
like
playoff team.
when you only
So
lose 3 or 4 games a season, it just seems like they don't lose
yeah,
back to
they're not
backs.
going on like a losing streak or something like that.
Exactly. And like the Lions offense is really unknown right now, right? Like
Hmm.
the first few weeks you saw a little bit of DeAndre Swift. They should have won game 1 because he dropped that touchdown pass. Um that you saw a little bit of mostly Adrian Peterson. Adrian Peterson's getting all the carries on that team. And
Yeah,
so what are you getting with the Detroit Lions? I don't know. I don't really know. And so the one thing to consider is Kenny Galladay is back, and that is scary because Kenny Galladay truly is a top wide receiver in the league. He makes amazing plays, and Matt Stafford is a perfect quarterback for him.
hmm
Um, he played 73% of the snaps last week, so you're probably ramping that up this week. Michael Thomas did practice in limited fashion, so you know he's a guy that grinds through injury and everything, and he's going to try his best to play that game. And so for that reason, because he was very close to playing last week,
yeah,
and for those reasons, I'd take that Saints -4.
yeah. I think I would lean there. I may add it as a sixth team. I don't know. I'll have to check. I may put some money there. I'm confident. The next game we have the Seattle Seahawks -7 against the Miami Dolphins and the bearded man himself, Ryan Fitzpatrick. I like the bet. The one thing I will say is that I think all of Seattle's games have been pretty close, like in terms of the margin they've won by. So the fact that it's -7, even though it's the Dolphins, they may make it close. Who knows? Ryan Fitzpatrick beat the Patriots last year, and that caused the Patriots the 2 seed. I think it was the 2 seed, yeah. And so I'm not. I don't want to touch this one. I just personally don't think I would bet. I would not take Seattle -7.
I'm not touching this with a 10-foot pole.
Yeah,
I think Ryan Fitzpatrick can make a game super close or super far,
not close.
And
Yeah,
so just with that Seattle secondary that's destroyed. There's
it's
nobody in that
destroyed.
secondary,
Yeah,
and Fitzpatrick still produces very well even in age 37 or something.
yeah.
And so that bearded wonder, he can mess up and dude, like that secondary is so bad that
Hmm.
I honestly wouldn't be surprised if Miami could pull off a dub in Miami. But at the same time, it's Russell Wilson, that prolific
Exactly.
offense. I'm not saying with any sort of confidence that Miami's winning this game. I definitely think Seattle's winning. I just saying I wouldn't be surprised. But that being said, I do think it's going to be close because that secondary is terrible. Ryan
Yeah.
Fitzpatrick has a knack for making games close at the end as well,
Hmm.
and I wouldn't touch this at all.
Yeah, I agree with you. I'm just, yeah.
It seems like when you should, right? It's like
It
Seattle,
seems like
Russell
amazing.
Wilson, best player in the league right now, and the fact that you can't touch this, even though it's only -7 with the best player in the league, that's just showing how bad that Seattle secondary is.
Yeah, exactly. And so the next bet is, again, a bet I really don't want to touch just because of that large point spread. The New York Giants +13 against the I am slurring today. The Los Angeles Rams. The Rams looked iffy against the Bills. They mounted a cool comeback. They almost had the game. They lost it on a questionable PI call. We can go back and forth about that forever.
It wasn't a
Their
PI.
game seemed to be close. They were close against the Cowboys. They won. They were close against the Bills. They lost. 13 points, too big of a gap for me. I am not touching this one just simply because of the point spread.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Rams will win by at least 2 touchdowns just because the Giants are that bad without Saquon Barkley especially. Um, You mentioned the two games. The Giants, the Rams played the Cowboys and the Bills. Those are two really good offenses. This
Yeah.
is not that. This is not a really good offense. And only reason I won't touch it, Daniel Jones, big question mark. He could blow up a game at any point. He's just one Darius Slayton touchdown away from making it close. So yeah, this is a big spread that I'm not touching.
Yeah, neither am I. I don't think they want you to bet these kind of games just by that point spread.
Ugh.
Next game, another interesting one, and it's going to be the Buffalo Bills minus 3 points against the Las Vegas Raiders.
Man, I should have bet it the other day then because they had Bills minus 2.5.
Yeah, I think this is a very. I updated this chart. Yeah, so it's. I think a lot of people are betting the Bills minus 3, and you know what? They're right.
Yep.
I think that is an amazing bet. Definitely doing that. The Raiders, again, they look great. They were 2-0. They got exposed by the Patriots. If there's a decent or semi-decent team going against them, they lose. I'm taking the Bills. Josh Allen, could be like second in the MVP race right now. He's getting it done with his arm and his legs. John Brown is a question mark. He has a soft tissue injury. Don't know if he's going to be suiting up for the game, but I like the Bills minus 3. I think they're going to put up some points this game. So that's the bet I'm definitely taking. This is in my top 5.
That Raiders secondary isn't as bad as people are making it seem to be, but I'm also taking the Bills minus 3. That's in my top 5 as well. It's just that Bills offense is clicking on every cylinder, and we haven't even seen, the most of Devin Singletary. In the beginning of last game, he was doing very well, and then they kind of went pass heavy towards the end because of the comeback that the Rams made, which the Rams probably should have won that game just because, dude, Josh Allen at the end of games, I know this isn't about this bet, but he always tries to do these weird things. So he ran out of the he passed the line of scrimmage on a run, and instead of going down, he tried to do that weird toss back to a running back who is not expecting the ball, and so he almost fumbled the ball away again. And you remember he did that last year in the playoffs. So he needs to stop doing that for one. But he is great this year, and his accuracy is so good compared to last year. And with Stephon Diggs there, yeah. And then not to mention Tre'Davious White will shut down whatever wide receiver he wants to on the Raiders. The only problem will be from Darren Waller, and we'll see. I don't think the Raiders will make it too close. And obviously Josh Jacobs is a great asset to have for the Raiders.
Yeah, definitely.
But that Bills defense is looking good. That Bills offense is looking prolific. So, give me 3 points with the Bills. I'll do that. I think they win by at least a touchdown.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Last week was close, but again, the Rams, I think, are better than the Raiders. So I think we both agree. Top 5 bet, take the Bills minus 3 points. Next bet, an interesting bet. I find this interesting because before the season started, I said the Patriots are going to be a below 500 team. They won't be making the playoffs. At the same time, I was skeptical about how they would use Cam in the offense. And man, they have suited that offense to Cam. Cam looks good. When Cam is healthy, he's like a top 10, top 5 quarterback in my opinion. It just over the last few seasons, he hasn't been the healthiest. Bill Belichick and Josh McDaniels tailored the offense to their best players. They've done a great job with Cam. I do like it. At the same time, it's Kansas City. They're minus 7. The Patriots defense is scary, but they're missing some key pieces. In reality, I'm very conflicted about this bet. So since I don't really know what to make of the Patriots yet, and I love the Chiefs, but the spread is minus 7, I'm not going to touch this bet personally.
So this is not a bet that I'd put in my top 5, but I would definitely go with the Chiefs minus 7, just because Cam Newton does not operate well with a lead. It's basically like
when they're down.
Yeah, my bad. When they're down.
Yeah.
When the other team has a lead.
Yeah.
It's just like the Lamar Jackson effect on the Ravens. Whenever the other team has a lead, Lamar Jackson just has trouble, getting that chunk yardage when they expect the chunk yardage to come by pass. And so it really depends. I think the Chiefs go up early. I don't think Patrick Mahomes is very afraid of any defense anymore. He can pick apart basically any defense, and so I'm not putting this in my top 5. I'm not doing it with full certainty, but like definitely lean towards that -7 with Kansas City.
Yeah, and I will say, just for an example, the Chiefs are going to score points. Andy Reid is a great head coach, definitely better than John Gruden, who the Patriots played last week. The Patriots were able to take away the number one key offensive weapon on the Raiders, which was Darren Waller. But the Chiefs have like so many different options they go through. Like they go through Tyreek Hill, you have Travis Kelce, you have Clyde Edwards-Helaire, who's just amazing, and then you have Mecole Hardman, Sammy Watkins. So you can't stop all of them.
And
And
I think
Patrick Mahomes will do what he does.
Yeah, I think over the last 6 quarters, Patrick Mahomes has really come into his own. I think he's back into being that MVP form. The first
Yeah.
the first six didn't look the greatest, right? First game versus Houston, and then the first half versus the Chargers. He didn't look amazing. I mean, he looked great. Obviously, he's Patrick Mahomes, but he didn't look like MVP Mahomes, right? But the
Yeah.
last 6 quarters, he definitely has. The Chiefs just have the Ravens number. I don't see the Ravens beating the Chiefs anytime soon. And I think that the Patriots can make it an interesting game, right? Like they've got Bill Belichick, who could hopefully tie Mahomes down for the first few plays, and then if the Patriots can get an early lead, they operate well. But yeah, I would definitely go with that Chiefs -7, which is not in my top
Yeah,
five.
for sure. It's not in my top five either. All right, so the next bet, I am not touching this one because of injuries and the Eagles suck. It's going to be the 49ers against the Philadelphia Eagles, who are now 0-2-1 with the tie last week against the Bengals. I don't like the Eagles. I think Carson Wentz is bad. He's regressing. They don't have any wins, but they're still half a game out of first place in their division because that's how bad their division is. That's just an insane thing to say. The 49ers, I think, win the game, but I don't give them 7. I don't know the injury report or the status of the players. Is Jimmy G going to play? Is Mostert going to play? Mostert's still questionable. I think Sherman is still on IR on the defensive end. And, Bosa's obviously gone for the season. So, weird game. I think the 49ers win. I just don't know if I want to take them with a -7 point total.
Yeah, it's 49ers home too, right? And Carson Wentz just looks terrible this season. And how much can you blame that offensive line? I mean, it's not like it's not good, but it's not the Bengals offensive line, and Joe Burrow has been fine, right?
Yeah,
He's putting up points. He's completing passes. He's not throwing as many interceptions as Carson Wentz is. I think Carson Wentz is on pace for 32 interceptions this season. He's literally thrown 2 every game, and it's crazy. But you're right. Yeah, I mean, it really depends. Is Deebo Samuel going to play? Is George Kittle going to play? Is Jimmy Garoppolo going to play? Too many question marks for anyone to bet on this. I mean, I think I'd lean towards Philly +7 just because I think Nick Mullins and company, they can score, but not as efficiently because Jerick McKinnon's also injured. McKinnon, Tevin Coleman, Raheem Mostert, top 3 running backs are out. Jeff Wilson Jr., great running back, but I mean he wasn't very efficient with his touches last week. So I'd lean towards Philly +7. I do think the Niners win this game, but it'll be a closer one.
Exactly, and that's why if I had to bet Philly +7, because Niners win, I just don't know if they do it by more than 7 points. And the Eagles are desperately looking for that win, so we'll see what happens there. The next bet, a spicy one for me, it's going to be the Atlanta Falcons +7.5 points against the Green Bay Packers. Very interesting. I think this is the first time this year that the Falcons are getting points. And not just that, they're getting 7.5 points. Again, look, we can say all we want about them blowing leads, and you would be right to say that they're really bad. We have a friend, Kunal, who's been on the podcast, who is now not a Falcons fan anymore.
Oh, he is. He is a Falcons
fan.
Yeah,
but dude, Julio Jones should be back. Calvin Ridley is amazing. I should have drafted him in fantasy, man. That was a wasted opportunity. Hayden Hurst looking good. We'll see how the running backs fare. Todd Gurley looks like he's fine. Not the Todd Gurley of old, but definitely a really good running back. And the Falcons' offense is just, really good. And I feel like they'll put up the points. I'm going to take the Falcons plus the points, and it's in my top 5.
That's interesting. I don't think I would touch that. I would lean towards the Green Bay -7.5.
Interesting. Okay.
I mean, yes, the Falcons will put up points. but it's Aaron Rodgers versus that decrepit secondary. If Devontae Adams plays, if everyone's healthy for the Packers, I think Aaron Rodgers will dismantle the Atlanta Falcons secondary, and then Aaron Jones is going to eat too. I don't think Russell Gage is going to play. Julio will play most likely, right? I don't know. I'm not too sure about his injury, but it all depends on those injuries, right? That's the same thing with the Saints and Packers game. Just Michael Thomas and Devontae Adams out. That's tough to bet, you know. But we saw what Aaron Rodgers was able to do against a better secondary with the Saints and put up, 37? That's no small feat. And so this could be a shootout of a game, and Matt Ryan will be throwing to try and tie like a 50-point game. You know what I mean? Because, oh, the God, the Atlanta secondary is just disgustingly bad. How do you blow a lead when Mitch Trubisky was the starter and you were up 16? Excuse?
Look. Exactly. So that's my point. I don't have faith in the Falcons winning. I just have faith that if I take the Falcons and their amazing offense plus 7.5 points, I think in terms of betting, I think I like that.
I can see that. I can see why. I just think that, like, think about it. Nick Foles dismantled that defense in a quarter and a half.
He did, yeah.
Give Aaron Rodgers 4 of those quarters against the same secondary.
True. I mean, you're making a good argument. I'm just, I don't know, man. That Falcons plus 7.5 just seems so appealing. And, that may be just, going to what the people who set the bets are thinking, right? They kind of want you to take that 7.5 points, so maybe I'm falling for a trap there. But, hey, I guess I won't bet as much, but I like this.
No, I can definitely see why you would do it, right? Like that.
Yeah.
Falcons offense is top 5 in the league right now. Calvin Ridley's disgusting. Julio Jones disgusting. Russell Gage is great. Hayden Hurst is okay. I don't think Hayden Hurst is producing as well as Austin Hooper was last year, so we'll see if he can step it up a little bit. But I do think I'm not taking either one, but I would take Green Bay minus 7.5.
Interesting. Okay. And then I don't know how many more we have, but we're getting to the home stretch. Never mind. That was the end. That is the end.
Oh, shoot. Okay.
Yeah, so...
Oh, what about Pittsburgh?
So I did not put that game in this betting thing. I just don't know when the game's going to be played. So I also don't think I saw the odds on Bovada because that's our source. If you want to pull it up on some other betting website, we can give our thoughts on it.
Well, originally they had Pittsburgh +1, and I really like that.
Oh, really? Pittsburgh and points?
Yeah.
Okay. I do like that.
I had notes on that before. Yeah, they don't have it on Bovada right now. You're right.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
I think, again, with the scheduling concerns and that COVID outbreak on the Titans, don't really know what's happening. I know that, Mike Tomlin is going to have his team ready. So I'll take Pittsburgh and points for sure.
Yeah, so if that does happen, that's in my top 5. Pittsburgh +1. But let's say it's not going to happen. So my top 5 is looking like the Cardinals, Cowboys, Saints, Bills, and Bucks. Oh, the original line for Green Bay was minus 6.5, and I was going to take that in my top 5.
Interesting.
But,
interesting.
Yeah, 7.5, that's a little rough. I do think they win by at least a touchdown.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, let's do that again. I say Cards, Cowboys, Saints, Bills, and Bucks, and then conditionally the Steelers.
Okay, so I think you and me differ only that one team. So I do like the Cards bet. So Cardinals -3. I'll pull up the graphic. Cardinals -3.5. Top 5 bet for sure. I like the Dallas Cowboys -4.5. Top 5 bet for me. We both like the Buccaneers -7. Top 5. And the 4th bet we had in common, I think
Bills.
You convinced me. The Saints. I mean, not the Saints, the Bills. The Bills. -3. I think we agreed on there.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I got Cowboys, Bills, Cards, Bucks. And for me, it's the Falcons game. Kind of iffy on that, but I'm going to go with those. So we should log these in so that, we keep that running record.
Yep.
So your final is going to be, basically we have 4 of the same teams, and then the difference is you have the Saints and I have the Falcons.
Yeah, and conditionally, like if the Steelers do play, I would have them above the Bucks. So let's just have that as like a miscellaneous sixth, you know?
Yeah, 6. And then we both agree Steelers for that. I think if the game happens, everyone should take Steelers and the point. I believe in Mike Tomlin's coaching. He'll have the team prepared no matter what. Vrabel's a good coach as well. I just love the Steelers' offense. Their defense is just great as well.
Steelers
Like
goated.
it's amazing, amazing defense. I like that game, and giving the Steelers points, no brainer for me.
And Chase Claypool is he's gonna be so good by the end of the season. I think he's gonna be
Yeah, he's really
catching
good.
dimes. Oh Lord, yeah, I definitely take Steelers plus points. Oh yes, sir.
Okay, yeah, and I think that's it. So we'll be keeping a running record of this. What I'll do is I'll set up like a simulation. So whoever's watching, you can like keep a track. I may put like $10 as like a simulation into every bet we did, and see how much money you could have made or could have lost, and then we'll keep a running total and see who you guys should believe more based on how our records end up.
Yeah, you can
And
put in
so-
the description, like make an Excel sheet and then
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I'll put an Excel sheet. I'll tell you guys what bets to take, like our suggestions. And just as a heads up, we use Bovada for our bets. We'll put either one of our links down below so that you can use our full code for getting extra cash when you sign up and whatnot. And based on what you guys do, and hopefully you guys make money along with us. And we hope you guys stick for the ride throughout the NFL season. And thank you for watching.
Thank you. Peace out.